All right, I hope everyone is having a great day today, Monday, August 2nd. And today I want to talk about this whole DaBaby thing, right? So DaBaby has been in the news for the past week and some change maybe for quote unquote homophobic comments that he has made about the gay community and HIV and AIDS. And my new thing going forward is I want to provide more interesting commentary than I want to be first to do something, right? So when this news dropped, a couple of years ago, I would have tried to rush this video out and just, to have my name attached to one of the first people commenting on the whole DaBaby situation. But that's not serving me. And more importantly, I don't think it's actually in line with what I'm trying to do with my vision on this, right? Because I'm not just trying to gain followers or gain clout. I want to become somebody that has something to say on these very important issues because we are in the midst of a culture war. And DaBaby found himself in the crosshairs of the left-wing movement in this country. I'm going to explain why. So first, what I want to do is, this is the part of the video where I'm going to actually show you guys what DaBaby said at Rolling Loud that got him, quote unquote, he's not canceled because he's never really canceled, but in trouble. So here we go. Here's the video.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if you like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas.
Lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't sucking in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah, keep it real.
Some of y'all suspect as a motherfucker. Let's be real.
Yeah. And so after he made those comments, and obviously, that video went around, people began to take issue with DaBaby because they believed that he made comments that were homophobic. Now, I don't know exactly how saying if you're not sucking dick in the parking lot, shout out to you or whatever, how that is actually homophobic because it's not disparaging homosexuals. Now, you could say, right? You could say that by implying that not sucking dick in the parking lot, you are implying that sucking dick in the parking lot will be problematic. So there's that. But really, DaBaby was doing there before his set what I've heard done at parties all my life. And if you're black and you've gone to a bunch of parties, school parties, parties at the club, fun parties in the summertime, you've heard this stuff from the DJ all the time, right? If your pussy smells like water, shout out to you, raise your hand. If you're not broke, raise your hand. If you're got on STD, I've heard those lines verbatim about the STDs and stuff in the club. That has been going on for years. And so DaBaby was trying to do the exact same thing to hype up the crowd before his performance, right? I keep trying to tell y'all, usually when these dudes get in trouble, it is not because what they are saying is that bad. It's because there has been a culture shift that has taken place beneath them, right? And so if you're standing in place, if the ground changes underneath you, you're going to get impacted by it. So DaBaby is probably shocked and stunned that he's in trouble because this type of rhetoric he's heard all his life. Hell, I heard it, 2-3 years ago, back when I used to party. I don't party much now for obvious reasons, but back when I party, I did hear this type of shit all the time. And so if we're keeping it honest, DaBaby's comments are not cancelable. We have heard way worse shit recently. Fuck 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm talking about in a recent memory, we have absolutely heard commentary from rappers that is way worse than what DaBaby has said on that stage. Way worse. And so I'm not buying that those comments were so problematic that he must be taken to task. I'm not buying that bullshit, right? And so then, I was sitting back in the cut. I was thinking, I was listening to people, give their commentary. And the tone of the criticism or the feeling of the criticism, it felt very Kanye Westy, right? Back when Kanye West was getting publicly lynched for his support of Donald Trump, his comments about slavery, going to see Trump. If you remember, Kanye West was dragged through the mud for his support of Donald Trump. Dragged through the mud just for voting or supporting somebody who is outside of what is deemed as the correct party we should be supporting. That's what got Kanye West in trouble. And so when I felt that same feeling when I was reading or listening to the pushback to DaBaby and his comments, I realized this has nothing to do with LGBTQ. Nothing to do. They are actually kind of pawns in a larger plan. And this is going to sound very, behind the scenes Illuminati. I promise you I'm not that dude. I'm not the dude that thinks that there's this agenda to convert all black men to be gay. I think is actually more nefarious than this, right? And so what you are watching take place in both the Kanye West situation that happened a while back and this DaBaby situation is you had two rappers who kind of stepped out of what is deemed as appropriate politics for black people, right? So Kanye West has said ridiculous things before, but when it aligns with kind of what is deemed as the appropriate left-wing narrative, he gets a pass. So when he says George Bush doesn't care about black people, he don't know George Bush. He don't know George Bush cares about black people. But that sentiment was agreed upon by a lot of black Americans, and so his commentary, even though you can say it was stupid, it was allowed to kind of go because it was viewed as him speaking for like a larger issue. Well, right now, what has happened is hip hop is not a reflection of African American values, right? Now, I know some people who are critical of hip hop will say that it hasn't been a representative of African American values for a while now, and that's kind of a point that we can debate at a later date. But today, especially, black Americans don't really run hip hop, especially mainstream hip hop, right? Mainstream hip hop is run by left-wing participants. It is funded by left-wing groups, and you can only say and do things that fall in line with the left-wing perspective. That's it. That's all you can do. If you say or do anything that is outside of that plantation, you will find yourself in trouble. Look at the brothers that have been, quote unquote, canceled. Kanye West was one. You got Nick Cannon, who was down with his head for a while. Now you have DaBaby. And there's been a couple of more that I can't think about off the top of my head, but you get what I'm trying to say. That's what this is really about. And so the LGBT community is a very important community for the Democrats, for people who are on the left side of the political aisle, the left side of this thing, right? And so they're using this opportunity to kind of flex their muscle. Because remember, if you just listen to his comments, you have heard, and you got to admit that you have heard way worse from rappers, both in their records and on stage when they're just hyping up a song and shit, right? I mean, we had a Tupac drop a diss track making fun of people with a sickle cell. We had, and in case you're saying, oh, Cruel, that was so long ago. Dude, we had Pusha T and his diss track to Drake. Talk about tick, 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 how much time he got. For 40, Drake's producer with an autoimmune disease. We have constant misogyny in the music. Bitch this, hoe that, suck my dick, all of this stuff going on in hip hop music. On a day-to-day basis, no one cares. No one views that as problematic, right? The promotion of murder. Hip hop music is filled with dudes talking about killing a black man or shooting a black man, perpetuating violence against other black men. No one cares. None of these festivals were out there saying, you know what, we are against this rhetoric of violence. We think it's problematic, and so we think this rapper should not be performing here. It's not going to happen, right? Because those things are not against the left-leaning, left-wing party, left-wing movement in this country. And so DaBaby got caught up. He got caught up. The reason Kanye was able to kind of get by is because Kanye never backed down. This is something DaBaby should have taken notes from Kanye from, but he didn't, right? And so today he released like this statement. They're calling it like his second apology, where he's talking about, oh, he was ignorant to HIV and AIDS and you know, the gay community. He wants to apologize, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I don't respect a black man on his knees like that, right? And by the way, I think what DaBaby said was stupid. We know that if you have HIV and AIDS today, you're not going to die within weeks, most people. There's plenty of medications where if you have HIV and AIDS, you can live a relatively normal life. Matter of fact, depending on who you are, case in point, Magic Johnson, you can get your rates down so low. I mean, your levels down so low in your system that if you got an HIV and AIDS test, it wouldn't even be detectable. So, of course it was dumb. It was stupid. But since when are we holding rappers to the standard that their commentary needs to be on base? Their commentary needs to be so profound and absence and void of ignorance. Like, when did we start going with this standard for rappers? Because I hear stupid shit from rappers all the time. Like I said, in their music and when they're not spitting some bars. When they're just talking. When they're just providing some social commentary on some shit. And so it's not because the comments were homophobic, because that's debatable. It's not because the comments were stupid or not true, because, like I said, we've heard commentary from rappers that has been not true before. He's in trouble because his commentary does not fall in line with the left-wing movement that is trying to spread. And the last genre of music that they're going after is hip-hop music. because hip hop music is the only genre of music today that has unapologetic masculinity in their messaging. Now, is a lot of it toxic? Absolutely. But there are certain aspects that aren't toxic at all, that are just, pro capitalism, pro money, stunting, stack my bread, those themes in hip hop have nothing to do with demeaning women, have nothing to do with homosexuals, has nothing to do with none of that shit. It's about just money and economics. There are plenty of songs that just promote that, plenty of rappers that are not problematic, but they push those type of masculine ethos, so to speak. And I might find some of that to be problematic. But I'm trying to explain to you why they're going after DaBaby so hard. It has nothing to do with him. He's kind of the instrument for a larger goal, right? Like a stepping stone to a larger place, right? Getting rappers on code for this left-wing movement. And the left-wing movement is huge on homosexuality, the destruction of the nuclear family, the destruction of gender as a concept, the destruction of gender roles, right? Like, these are things that they say that they want. And so, if you can come after the last genre of music that has a pro-masculine message, and you can take that over, politics is right around the corner. Politics is downstream from culture, in my opinion. You want to, and this is actually why the Republican Party is so, backwards, because they have failed to understand this concept. If you can win the cultural war, you're going to win the political war eventually. It might be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, but that's what happens, right? The gay marriage stuff was won culturally first before it was ever won politically, because you need to galvanize people. Voters are more susceptible to culture than they are to politics. More people listen to music and watch movies and read books than they do watch the news and study politics. That's a fact. And so this is the war being fought right now. And I want people to be aware of what's happening, because homophobia at this point is more problematic than misogyny, even though there are more women in the world than there are homosexuals. I'm gonna repeat that. By these festivals canceling DaBaby for his commentary about not sucking dick in the parking lot, they are saying homophobia is more problematic than misogyny, even though we have more women in the world than homosexuals, and misogyny is more rampant in hip hop than homophobia. It's not even close. You hear significantly more suck my dick, fuck you bitch lyrics in hip hop than you do anything about homosexuals. But here we are. So my question would be to these festivals, okay, well, why are you allowing the rappers who promote the degradation of black women on stage, but DaBaby can't say, don't be sucking dick in the parking lot? And if you do, you're suspect to me. Why is that more problematic than the constant rhetoric that we hear, the constant degradation that we hear about black women, right? And for those of you who know me, I am a free speech absolutist. So I'm not pushing for the censorship of more artists. What I'm saying is DaBaby should be granted the same license that we grant rappers who promote misogyny, sexism, greed, all of that type of shit. DaBaby should be granted that same amount of grace. I support your freedom to promote misogyny, your freedom to promote sexism, your freedom to promote materialism, your freedom to promote debauchery, your freedom to promote the degradation of our people. If that's what you want to do, I will support your right to do it. But we have people now putting their line in the sand at homophobia while allowing all of this other shit to go on, and that has me confused. We're not confused, because I know what's going on, but y'all don't see the writing on the wall. So that's kind of my commentary. I don't want to ramble too long, but that's what's really happening right now with DaBaby. This has nothing to do with DaBaby. Like, this apology shit that he did, I think was backwards. He should have just been quiet for like a month or two and then dropped some records, and came back, right? Like, Kanye West is kind of giving you guys the blueprint to deal with this stuff. Like, the outrage machine is just the outrage machine. Kind of let it go and you'll be fine. That said, we have to fight this stuff culturally, because they are coming for masculinity. That's what they're coming for. And hip hop, in my opinion, should be cleaning up a lot of the problematic lyrics, a lot of the problematic viewpoints that it spews out there. But that's something for us to do, or that's something that can be handled without the cancellation of individuals. And you guys know, I much prefer the promotion of the message that I want rather than canceling people who promote a message that I disagree with, right? Because the cancellation stuff is snowballs into a society that you don't want to live in. So promotion of positive messaging versus trying to ban everybody that promotes a negative messaging. That's my belief system. So they're coming for us. They are coming for hip hop. You're gonna see more with the rise of Lil Nas X, with the rise of all of these rappers. You are going to start to see a push for the non-binary, for the end of the nuclear family, for the You're also going to start to see more rap that is anti-men, anti-male, right? The rise of the city girls, etc. There's a culture war being fought. You're not paying attention. You need to. All right. So DaBaby, I think if he just lays low for like a month or two, he'll be fine, right? If he's good, right? The reason why Kanye West made it through is because he's Kanye West. You can't cancel a GOAT. You can't cancel a giant. But I'm gonna end there. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree with my assessment of this situation. I think I'm going to do a video tomorrow about Kanye West and some of the comments that I've seen about people who are trying to judge people excited for the new Donda album, saying that, when do we forgive Kanye? Because I don't think Kanye West did anything that warrants him to be forgiven for. So I'll go into that and kind of, how problematic and how insane it is that we cancel rappers for political opinions, but we keep them around if they beat women, rape women, steal, rob, promote debauchery, all that other stuff, right? So let me know how you feel about the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Deuces.